All right, everyone, here we are, right smack dab in the middle of the week. Hump day, they call it in some places. I like to think of it as Shower Door Pros Day, also known as Wednesday. Good evening, glad you could join us. Everybody who's here so far, I have a feeling we'll get some stragglers. We usually have some people who show up just a little bit, fashionably late. Because no one wants to be the first one to a party. But glad I can be here. So welcome, and I just wanted to kind of see what's going on out there. If anybody's got something, some burning topic that they're wanting to talk about, and it's been kind of preempted by all this talk of price increases and stuff like that. I know we've been talking about that for a couple of weeks, and so I was curious. What's going on out there?
The reason I posted that just before I jumped on tonight was my wife and I had to run over to a big box store, and I was at the customer service desk, and some lady brought back a boxed shower door. Made me so happy. And I'm standing in line listening to her complain how cheap and unsafe it was. It's like, wow, I wish I had my phone on video. I really, truly do. But how often do you guys get that and you tell customers and it's all about price and they don't really care? Wouldn't it be nice to be able to follow it through and then watch them return it?
I think they care until they care.
Yeah.
Or they don't care until they care.
And until I have to use this.
Yeah. Well, you saw my response to that customer.
I did.
Yep. He's just going to go with a big box store, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. Just don't make me install it.
It's not my market. No,
nope.
I can't put the reputation of my company on that. I can't. I'm not going to. And if you asked 100 people in the room, what's the first thing that comes to mind when you say Home Depot? It's
quality.
It's the word cheap. It's naturally associated with it. I buy things cheaper there. I buy it cheaper there.
Yeah.
That word cheap is the last thing I want to associate with my company.
Well, the thing is I tell people all the time, go to the big box stores, please. They're great companies. Go use them for hammers, for tools, for all of that stuff. That's what they were designed for. They're very, very good at that. But windows, doors, shower doors, they're not good at that. And you're going to have problems. And when you have a problem, you go back and John, who sold it to you 2 years ago, isn't around, and they don't sell that brand anymore, so they can't get parts. They don't know what to do with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's like nobody there knows anything about anything. I mean, it's like ever go in there and it's like someone comes up and says, "Oh, can I help you find something?" Right. Like, "Oh yeah, I'm looking for one of these screws right here." "Oh yeah, we don't have those." It's like, "Okay, well, thanks for your help." And you go over to the screw section, look around, you find it, and if you're ornery like me, you go back and find that employee.
Yeah, it was say, right there.
"Hey, this is where they're at." For the next guy who asked for them, you are incorrect in your assumption that you didn't have them. You actually do have them.
So I just did that.
Right. Yeah. And so just imagine asking one of those guys about a shower. I mean, so what do you know about shower doors? What do you know about windows? I mean, they don't know they don't know about screws. How are they going to know something about windows?
Unreal.
That's a good point.
So true. Yeah. But, do you guys have stock answers that you use when somebody's trying to compare you against that, or a stock answer where they've already bought one and want you to install it, other than no?
I used to install them. I don't anymore.
I mean, is that what your answer is to a customer? I used to install them, but I don't anymore?
Pretty much. Just it's not worth it. I mean, there's too many risks involved, because like we talked about before, if I break it or break a part, I can't recoup that money.
You break it, you bought it.
South. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
There's
it's not worth that.
You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. There's a big problem with customer supplied anything. Anything.
You know,
Well, then
I
have
also
broken a radius piece before. It wasn't fun.
Yeah, I also used to do those like customer supplied things. And I remember getting this one enclosure, you know, it was obviously from some part of Asia. And they had like all the parts, you know, and they're all labeled. They've got like A, B, C, D, you know, 1, 2, 3, 5. And then there's this big like board, like a shrink wrapped piece of cardboard, you know, with all these little compartments and all these little parts. I mean, there had to have been like 100 parts. I mean, not even exaggerating. I was going to exaggerate there for a minute. But I thought, no, let me be kind of accurate. Seriously, probably 100 little parts, little rollers, little bearings, little screws, little anchors, little plastic things. And then, you know, if you lose one of those little parts, or if you break one of those, where are you going to go to get one? I mean, are you going to call China and ask them to send you one? So it's just like, man, there's just no way to make any money on it. And not only that, that's not even the worst part. Not making money isn't the worst part. The worst part is what Bill was talking about. Do I really want to, you know, hitch my trailer, you know, to this crappy little thing that came from some big box store? You know, are people going to come in and say, oh, wow, who did that? Like, oh, Showcase Shower Door did that. You know, it's like, oh, man.
Exactly.
Well, and it's not measured for the opening, so when you install it, it's not going to look very good. So
No,
and if it leaks, it's your fault. So
Now,
no.
I have a question. I ran into this actually last week, where it's a contractor that I do a lot of work for. It does a lot of bathroom remodels, and you know, it's usually custom shower doors, frameless shower doors. But this particular customer he's got right now bought a box unit for the downstairs tub. I think it's just a bypass slider. But the contractor asked me if I would put it in for, you know, their client, because I'll be doing the bathroom upstairs. What do you guys do in a situation like that? When it's a guy that you do a lot of work, it's a guy I do a lot of work for. He knows I've done it for him in the past. He knows that I'm not thrilled at the idea of it. And I usually go through the whole kind of, not really a stock answer, but you know, I don't like doing it. I can't guarantee the fit. I don't know if the walls are out. A lot of times those things don't have a lot of adjustment, you know, give or take a quarter, you know, so on and so forth. But it came up again. Actually, it was earlier this week, Monday, I think. So what do you guys do in a situation like that? Just curious.
You're in a pickle, because if you don't do it, you may get another glass guy to do it. And
Keith is going crazy.
Okay, yeah. Keith, go ahead.
Keith wants to talk.
Better answer than me. Go ahead.
Let's flip it around. When you're out at your builder's house for the next 5 years doing his installs and you break a tile, unbeknownst to you, do you want the contractor to help bail you out of that jam and not fucking screw you to the wall? That's a good spin. My brother and I, and even Dad, in the beginning would go above and beyond stuff that we said there's no fucking way, no one's gonna tell us to do this. And then we found out this is kind of the easy way to build the strongest rapport possible, is by helping out. Now, how you leverage that when you say you're going to do it, I think is, a 2mm ship. But I would still look for opportunities like that, because it's just going to build you almost create reciprocity unknowingly just by helping him. I would jump out of my skin to do that. Mm-hmm. And of course, I'd cover your ass. We're not warranting this. It's a piece of shit. I know it's a piece of shit. Right. But I understand the situation, and I want to be your guy. So when you have a problem, you call me. You don't call anybody else, because I'm going to take care of you. And boom, he's a customer for life, 100%.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll give you a little different example. We have a contractor we work with very regularly, strong relationship. He has a customer, he's doing the bathrooms. Listen, the customer's really pushing me to reuse the glass. was a glass you guys didn't do. It was done a long time ago. We're going to try to hold the dimensions. Will you do it? And I said, no, we won't. And here's why. It's not going to fit. The customer's going to be mad. It's going to leak. They're going to not the way it looks. He said, okay. He went and got another glass company to do it. Nice guy. I see him about a month later. He goes, oh my God, I should have listened to you. That was a nightmare. The customer saved $1,000. And meanwhile, I got dragged into it. The other glass company got dragged into it. We have all this time into it, and it was a nightmare. I'm never doing that again.
And who saved the money? The customer did. Who spent the
That's
money?
right.
Everybody else.
Exactly right. So a slight twist. I'm not disagreeing with you, Keith. I'm saying there's some things you got to draw the line and you got to go.
Of course.
No, and here's why. But yeah, you can do stuff for, established contractors with exactly the caveats, because what you don't want to do is become the stock shower guy. One of the downsides of the recommendation is, oh yeah, he does my custom stuff, but he also puts in all my Home Depot stuff for the tubs. And there's a place where you can save money and he can put it in. I think the contractor saying, yeah, this is a piece of junk. It's a piece of junk. I know it's a piece of junk. The customer went out and bought it on their own. I'll do this to help get us all out of a jam.
Mm-hmm.
But I still don't. I mean, we don't. Our numbers are nowhere near what Bill's and those guys are. But last time we put in 200 and something showers a month. Last time we put in somebody else's unit, I can't remember. I
want preference. We don't like doing it. We don't advertise, but part of the reason I think we're at where we are was doing a lot of those things in the beginning. And of course you need context. We've all been burned enough when your intuition says, don't do this, don't do it. But on this type, what he explained to me, I'm getting in my truck with my tool bag. I'm going to have it done in 45 minutes. And this guy's going to be a customer for life. 100%.
Yeah. Every situation is different, right?
Yeah. I mean, can be.
If the builder's asking for a favor, that's where I would say yes. If the customer wants it and the builder doesn't really care, you're not building up any goodwill. It's all got to be about that relationship.
You install that and it becomes two problems. That builder from now on will tell the customer for you, nope, I only use this shower guy and here's the reasons why. I've done this, I've done that. Like, you got to go through that point to get there anyway. So the sooner you go through it, the better.
That's the truth.
It's true.
Yeah.
Right? We got a bunch of them that say, nope, we won't even do the job if you're not using this guy. And because we ate those shit burgers in the beginning. Yeah.
A lot of truth to that.
Yep. So I'd say, Brian, if it's going to help you build a relationship with that builder without being his stock shower installer, then go for it.
Yeah. One of the other answers that I've heard is you say, oh, you bought it at a do-it-yourself store, so do it yourself.
There you go. Yeah, or how about this one? There's always guys out in front of there that'll install it for you.
Yeah,
just
right.
go out in the parking lot. I know there's some guys out there
Did you
they're perfectly qualified for installing exactly that type of product.
Did you see the post Mason put on today on the shower door professionals? Tile guys had messed up a shower and removed the door and then put it back in.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was a death trap. It was a death trap.
Yeah.
I did see that post. It was like, that's a shocking example of why tile guys should never touch glass.
Never. Like, those tile guys shouldn't have touched tile.
Exactly.
Based on what he said the threshold was like an inch off. Of course, the glass wasn't going to fit.
We don't make anybody sign any paperwork, whether deposits or contracts or anything on any of our shower doors, but we do make them sign when they want to take our glass out and they want us to put it back in. And it's a 3-page document. And in capital letters, it says your glass is not going to fit. Number 2, your glass is not going to fit. Number 3, did we mention your glass is not going to fit? A little humor.
All 3 pages.
And guess what? They go through it and we say it's going to be this, then we have to go. So 1, we have to tear it out. 2, then we have to wait till the tile's done. 3, we have to then send a guy out to measure and compare. Then 4, we have to see if the size has changed enough and the screw holes where the hinges go, and the whole drill. And then we give them a price. And you know what they say, even after they've signed this document? Why is it so much? That's as much as a new shower. So we're at the point now where we are, and you guys maybe have already gotten to this point and I'm just behind you. And that is, we're real close to, we'll pull the glass out. We won't put it back in. We'll charge you to pull it out, but we will not put it back in. because it never goes well. We're always the bad guy. At the end, we warn them, we write documents. Nobody cheerfully signs it and goes, "You told me. All right, here's another $2,000.
Shucks.
That's not what they say. Why is it so much? And then I have to get on the phone because one of my techs, nice guys, like, yeah, they're kind of upset about the price. And I'm like, they did sign this document, and it says, and you're like, this is unbelievable.
We had to talk about that, Greg. I don't think you were on the group at the time, about disclaimers and on your documents. And it got to the point where we've got a whole riot act on the back of ours. It's to the point where we ought to just reprint them and say we cover everything.
Yeah.
Because no matter what's on there, it's us. The tile guy didn't put enough thin set in the tile cracks. Oh, no, it's your fault. You're the professionals. It goes on and on and on and on. So
yeah. You should have turned on your X-ray vision before you drilled.
Yeah.
So many of those things. And like I said, it's a riot rack.
Right. And we cover them all, just like you, cracking the tile. We don't argue. We take the Keith approach. Yep, we'll take care of it. We don't admit fault. We say, oh, I'm sorry about that crack. We'll take care of it. But when it comes to pulling glass out where they want to change the tile, you've heard them. The tile guy promises he's going to hold the same dimensions. Nothing's going to change. Everything's going to be the same. And we're all laughing because we've been down this road before. But it's so hard to explain to people. It's not the same. It's tempered glass to within the 16th of an inch. It's not going to fit. If it was going to fit, we would tell you. We don't want to argue with you. So it's one of the frustrations that we have, in addition to several others. But
I tell them it's $350 to remove it. It's $250 to put it back in. But it's $1,200 to scrape all the caulking and God knows whatever else is on that glass. I said, because you're not touching my dirty underwear. What the hell makes you think I want to touch it? Okay?
What was that again, Keith? I don't touch your dirty underwear. What was that? I want to
that. That's how it's going to happen. I've seen what's in there. I've sold enough of these. A lot of people are animals.
I gotta put that on the contract. Dirty underwear.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to work on somebody's shower, and like right before I get there, they take a shower.
They shower.
Yeah.
And it's like, are you serious? It's like, you're going to have me work in your bath water. I mean,
and then they didn't clean it. Right.
Yeah.
So
there's
all sorts of nice presents for us.
Not hygienic.
They didn't do the 3 S's.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Exactly. Right in the shower.
This is going to be it's going to be a long show tonight. It's going to be very long.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of that, look, here's Max. Max is with us tonight. Hey, man, I have to tell you, Max, thanks so much for giving us the heads up on that price increase that was coming. You were the one who broke the story on that. And it really helped us kind of, get mentally prepared for how should I say it? The reaming that
the nightmare
we were about to get.
Yeah. Can you hear me all right? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, you sound great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a struggle getting on. Yeah, I mean, the whole thing, I had heard about it, a few days before, and I hear rumors like crazy. And I completely discounted it when they said, Guardian's going to come out with a 40% increase on clear and tints. And I'm like, no way. There's this no way. And then it came out, and I was completely floored and still upset about it. Just bad, bad form. But they're owned by a group that doesn't want to be, I don't want to say doesn't want to be in this industry, but has a different approach to this industry that others have and that we all have. So it's definitely a little bit of a challenge, and it's tough times. And I feel bad for, as it goes downstream. I mean, those are big numbers, especially when you have jobs that have been booked, and then all of a sudden you get 1 week to try to figure this out. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, you've been like in the industry for a long time. You've been kind of our news source, kind of in the industry for a long time. I mean, have you ever seen anything like this before?
No, I'm stunned. I mean, completely stunned by it, completely unexpected. And I mean, there's no doubt that, as an industry, we've been behind from a pricing standpoint. I always used to just, I wrote it in my blog this past week, but I found a pricing booklet from my dad from 1958. And in that pricing booklet, quarter clear tempered was $1.80. And I was cracking up because, when I found that book, that's what we were selling quarter clear tempered for, is $1.80. What is the same price from 1958 to 2018? Nothing. I mean, you always see these things that the hamburger at McDonald's was 10 cents back then, and now it's, $2 or whatever. And so we've kept everything basically the same. And then, when the industry had tried to raise prices, they did it poorly. They always made side deals. The bigger guys always got away with not getting an increase, and they wouldn't pass it through. And so then the price increase would die, or they would handle it very ham-handedly. Well, now, inflation has caught up to everybody, and they try to push this increase through a big number all at once. And it's just not a great way to do things, just because, yes, prices are up, inflation's up, but then you put it all on us, and we're at the end of that food chain for the most part. It's a scary thing. And my fears have been, being realized right now. We're seeing jobs go offshore. Products go offshore, and we're seeing people order from fly-by-night sort of companies offshore that are going to send glass in. And these companies don't realize that there are good offshore suppliers for glass, and then there are horrendous ones. And right now, chances are they're ordering from the horrendous ones, and they're going to get clear glass that comes in that's going to have pits in it. It's going to have nickel sulfide in it, which is a fear for everybody in this group. You don't want to put in any shower that's going to blow up someday. This is glass that's not made in the Western style, that is not made with nickel in it. So it's going to be some ugly times coming ahead, because people were driven to this because of this increase.
Oh, thanks for the pick me up, Max.
But you know what? I will say that I've been impressed the way you folks, everybody's been handling it a lot better than I probably would. I'd be still, bitching and moaning. I mean, it's been amazing talking to people about how they've, put their heads down and have started to figure it out and trying to deal with it and make the best of it versus, I read all the boards and on some, like on the Glazer Nation board, there are people that are, more despondent, and that was kind of more my feel. But I've been impressed with folks outside of that have said, okay, this is the hand we're being dealt. We're going to figure it out. And, the strong are going to survive, the smart are going to survive. And it's people like on this call that meet every week and share best practices and figure these things out are going to be the ones that will survive and thrive. And those that are, wanting to fight it while not trying to do what's best are going to go down.
Well said.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, so it's a battle. It's a battle.
We probably had a good 45-minute discussion last week about this and how we're going to handle it as a group.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of it is out of our control. So we have to deal with what's handed to us, and we have to be man enough to pass on the price increase to the customer. It's the big jobs that you were talking about that's going to be really important. Like we've got contracts they have, towers that haven't even been dug yet.
Yeah.
And then we got to go back. But, they're also dealing with concrete increases, rebar, doors, windows, appliances, tile, paint. They're all increasing.
Yeah. And on the flip side, again, for more bad news, we're seeing projects being put on hold more in the western part of the U.S., and in Canada, Pacific Northwest, or because this was kind of like the final, final shoe to drop with all of those other increases, and now we add on to it, and so we've seen, projects put on hold until either things settle down or they move in a different direction.
Yeah, and I think we in Florida, we're in a pretty good position because everybody's coming here, so I don't think they're putting any projects on hold. I think Greg in Tennessee is in the same predicament, that people are flocking to Tennessee as well. I know Brandon stayed pretty busy. I talked to him this week out in Arizona, and Texas is still busy, but I don't know about a lot of the other states.
Yeah. I think the interesting thing is that the metrics are all still very, very positive. Even though you feel that negativity in the world with the economy and, the inflation reports and the worry of a recession, when you look at the construction metrics, everything is very positive. The only worrisome metric that's out there right now are RV sales. RV sales are starting to slide and starting to really get light. In the past, that's always been a bellwether for, okay, there could be a problem coming down the path, maybe in a year, because it's got that long of a lead time. But this is such a different time because of COVID, and you can't compare this sort of trend versus past trends, because you have that whole COVID mix in there, along with the war in the Ukraine and a Democratic administration that's not business friendly. So you have a lot of different combos that are working against it. But the RV is the only area that the metrics are negative right now. Everything else is positive through 2023 into 2024. And really the only negatives that are being pushed out there is, further into the distance, like 2030, in that sort of area of some dire straits, but nothing immediate. So I think we have a road to go here unless something crazy happens.
Hey, Max.
Yes,
have
sir.
you heard, with that type of increase all at once one glass company sees it and the rest of them think they can, have you heard anything from architects thinking maybe if there's that much of a pop at once, they'll use different materials? Because that's the fear I have. We're not going to stop the big guy, but that, I don't like to use the word greed, but that taking that much at once could make a big decision for them to use other materials.
It would. It is. And I mean, the thing is that there's no, obviously, as we all know, there's not a good replacement for glass. But in those of you who do more than just showers, you're going to start to run into where they're going to use more panels. They're going to use a smaller window to wall ratio. And so they're going to use other building materials, because the thing that glass doesn't have, and it doesn't affect the majority of this group, but glass and metal are terrible energy wise. And we've fought that for years, and we've shown how we're getting better at energy, and we have all these different products. But at the end of the day, you get these folks that are like, well, I didn't really want to use the glass anyway, because of the energy aspect. So I'm going to put in a panel here, and I'm going to go with a smaller window, and I don't care about the natural light. Thankfully, on the shower door side, we don't have that problem. There's really nothing that can compare. People aren't going to start putting in plastic shower doors. They're not going to put in transparent wood or anything like that. So, I mean, I think we're safe there. Our battle from a shower door angle is really more the economy at large, because, it starts to become an amenity, a luxury, and people may not go with that. But we're not seeing that part on the showers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are
most of you guys in the shower business, and get a little nosy here, are you announcing an increase, or was it a quiet increase for your shower customers?
For me, I reached out to customers. Well, I don't have a whole bunch. I just have like a couple of jobs. I had a couple of quotes out there, in the pipeline, and had, a couple of contractors I do work for. So I just kind of, touched base with them. And basically the way I approached it was like, hey, you should be glad that you got this project in when you did, because we just got this huge increase. And so look for in the future, prices are going up. And so I had the opportunity to kind of warn people a little bit in advance. Now I have this one pretty big project going near Saratoga. So really kind of a nice area nearby, and a big project, a house, a new house with like 5 shower enclosures. And I had just given them a bid, and then I got this. So I reached out to them and was like, hey, cancel that. I'll get back to you in about a week and get you some updated pricing, but this is what's going on,
Yeah, that's fair. That makes sense, though.
Now, guys, note that, Guardian quietly, and I don't know if it's reached you guys, Guardian quietly reached out to people and said, if you have a letter of intent, that they'll hold price to the end of the year. So I would talk to your fabricators. I mean, I know some of you are fabricators on here, like Bill and Keith, but talk to your fabricators. If it's a Guardian situation and you have a letter of intent, you have this locked in, you may be able to get at least either locked in or some more favorable pricing by the end of the year, because they did offer that. Obviously, that's more of an offer that they probably meant to do for the commercial architectural folks, the IG folks. But I would take advantage of it. It is floating out there, so I would hit your fabricator on that.
That's a great point, and it kind of goes back to like what we were talking about earlier. What Brian brought up about, a contractor wanting him to do something that he doesn't normally do. I mean, relationship is key, right? So, and communication is key. So just because something's happened doesn't mean that it necessarily has to happen to you. If you can communicate well, if you can reach out, talk to your suppliers, you've got a good relationship. Hey, you know, what about this? Because are there any exceptions? I'm sure that they're going to make exceptions. They're not going to advertise.
No.
Hey, you know, yeah, let us know. We'll give you the price we promised you.
It is. Yeah, it is a relationship industry. We know that. So that's a great point, Chris. And just to kind of answer Greg's question, most of the people that I've talked to are taking it right now on a case-by-case basis. They're not putting out a letter unless, you know, the bigger guys are, because they have just so many customers. But smaller folks are doing it on a case-by-case, job-by-job sort of scenario, you know, communicating, and, you know, because it is also variable. It depends, you know, job going 2 weeks from now versus 3 months from now, totally different things. So it is a case-by-case angle versus saying, okay, it's just straight 40 across the board. Good luck. You know, see you later.
Yeah, one of the reasons I asked, because we had a customer come in the showroom and order this week, and they said, I want to get in before the 40% price increase. And of course, we had not mentioned anything about a 40% price increase. So obviously some of the competition is telling them there's a 40% price increase. So
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering, how they were handling it, because we haven't said anything of the kind. So
most of our builders that reached out to me with that same, I had 3 of them call me, is because of their window packages, and those are big deals. And so depending on who the window's coming from, they already got hit with that. They start thinking, oh shit, what other glass
what else
products?
is glass? Yeah.
It was actually good for us because it was already kind of like the blow wasn't as impactful.
Somebody else was the messenger.
Yeah, the sting's already out of it.
Yeah, and you're lucky, Keith. In the past, you know, the contracts would always protect the window guys. They'd be locked in, and so they wouldn't. These increases wouldn't affect them. But these superseded any contracts, so it didn't matter if they had a contract. They're getting this increase.
Max, what have you heard about mirrors? Any increase anywhere?
Yeah, it seems you know, obviously, you know, Guardian's a mirror manufacturer, so they noted that they were going up. I have not seen anything yet from Gardner. I do believe that you know, Virginia's going up. I haven't seen anything from like Lenore, some of the other smaller guys. I'd expect them to go up. I mean, it's a very clear, intensive process, and I also assume silver, you know, is such a volatile product. I got to assume that that's probably a little in flux too. So I would think mirrors are going to go up, you know, at least because Guardian took the lead on that, but I have not seen a lot.
What's the likelihood of one of these major floats not raising the prices like this, and then us as association celebrating these people to hopefully steer some of the other people from pulling back maybe?
I think it's here. I mean, I think because of the inflation situation, I don't see it going back. You know, and I just think it's because it was probably needed. The problem is also, I mean, you only have so many choices. You know, it's not like, you know, there's going to be a new float line being built anytime soon. The newest float line's coming to Canada, and it's being built for solar. So it's not even affecting, you know, all of us. So I think this is unfortunately the way it's going to be. I just hope that we're not going to have any more. That's the fear, is that, you know, sometimes, you know, people say, oh, whoa, this went through, you know, we're going to maybe throw another 15% on or 20% on. I really hope that doesn't happen.
What have you heard about aluminum extrusions?
That's been a nightmare for a while. I think you guys know that. And it still continues to be a nightmare. Part of it is Russia, you know, being, you know, part of the core materials for it. Some of it is starting to settle a little bit because getting containers from places like Turkey are getting easier and less expensive. And that's kind of starting to ease some of the capacity issues here in North America. But it's still volatile. It's not like glass. It's funny, you know, aluminum's always been a lot more volatile. Now glass is kind of taking that role.
Yeah, no kidding. So we got one from our aluminum supplier that they're actually starting to catch up on their lead time. So instead of 67 weeks now, it's down to 65.
There you go.
Oh, nice.
We're supposed to celebrate.
It's like overnight, basically.
Yeah, 65 weeks.
Yeah, you beat me on that one. The biggest one I've seen lately is 48 weeks. So yeah, that's it really is rough, the aluminum side, but I think it's going to keep getting better, Bill, because a lot of people do like to import it. The container situation's getting better. And so that could help, help that situation get a little bit better. But it's still going to be volatile.
Did they drop the tariff?
They have not officially dropped the tariff yet. I expect that to probably happen. You saw Biden drop the tariff on solar panels, and that indirectly helps us because as much as I can't stand Chinese solar panels, the fact that he dropped the tariff there will, help the glass flow in our side of the business stay in our world versus going to solar. I expect the tariff to probably be dropped on aluminum, just because I think that's going to be part of the strategy here to curb some of these inflationary measures. It has to be. Otherwise, things are going to continue to spiral out of control.
Yeah, and I think I don't want to speak for everybody, but I think there's a certain where's the tipping point. That's where I come down and sit there and go, where is the tipping point? Because 40% feels like the tipping point. So, or pushes you real close to the tipping point because you have to absorb it or sell it or transfer some of it, efficiencies. And so the question is, where's the tipping point where the RVs aren't the only thing? And now that remodel, you know what, we're going to hold off on that bathroom remodel. Yeah, the fiberglass is ugly and the curtain's ugly. We're just going to hold off for another couple of years.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm hoping that this is it. But you got some crazy cowboys out there. So I guess we'll see.
Speaking of that, where's Jim Evans tonight?
Speaking of crazy people.
Hey, Greg, as some of those jobs some of the work doesn't go through because of the increase, so won't some of the competition. Some of them won't be able to handle it and they'll go.
Yep.
So as the amount of work drops, I think the amount of supply for that demand will go kind of along the same lines too. Maybe not as fast, but the attrition will start to happen.
Yep. Guys are over leveraged. Some of these guys will go into business and they'll get a truck payment. They'll get an edge. Last last recession, one of my competitors who's gone, they repossessed his edger, and I'm not being mean, but it was like you had a payment, on your edger after 30 years of being in the business. It wasn't even that nice of an edger. And you're like, you weren't prepared after, 2008, there was a good, 10, 15, 20 years of boom. And so you got to make sure that stuff's paid off exactly so that you're not in a situation where you've got way too many monthly payments.
Great advice. The machinery folks can be, a little bit at fault on that one because they try to make it really simple for you to get in as much machinery as possible. They come up with these creative plans because they want to sell as much as possible. And then, those bills do come due. And if you got way too many, up there, it's a problem.
But you're right, Keith. We just got to go, and that's what we're doing. We're going to some of the advice last week about the tile thing. I've already booked my seat at the tile thing. So thank you. I forgot who gave that advice last week, but I'll be at that tile seminar in Gatlinburg in August and just trying to make sure. And so the weaker guys who cut back on marketing and advertising and going out there, you just got to go get it.
Have to. Yeah, that was great. That was Craig actually that brought that up about the Schluter.
Yeah, that was good. I contacted my Schluter guy and had a chat with him. So that's all good. It's great advice.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like the silver lining in all this. If there's one positive thing to pull out of it, it's kind of like what we've been talking about even earlier in this call. And what we talk about all the time is just being focused and having good relationships, having quality, and
cash reserves.
And being a company that's not a bottom feeder, that's going to be the first to get knocked off when something happens. Having good clientele and catering to people who who want good products, who want good service, who want that relationship. No matter what direction things go financially, somebody's always winning, right? Because that's the way economy works. So having those people as our customers is going to mean that we're going to continue to work. In the on the page, there's a couple of people watching and a couple of comments. One is from Brad Lehman. He says, if you keep your margins the same, your sales will go up. Yeah, sounds pretty simple, but it's really true, isn't it? I mean, there's going to be a price increase. And if your margin, if you have the same margin as before, you're actually going to profit from that increase. Maybe hard to swallow for some people, but really, if you think about it, it's the truth. You know, Charlie Lazaro in New Orleans says, yeah, we're very busy here in New Orleans. And so, yeah, I mean, you can ride this wave and make it, you know, to your advantage, really.
I think some of these older guys have gone through this a few times, and you have to be prepared. And like Greg says, you got to watch your debt. You know, don't leave yourself so open that something like that's going to catch you by surprise. I think, first of all, I want to thank Max for bringing it up to us early on, so the guys that pay attention to his blog and his writings pay attention to it. Then we discussed it here on the program. Mm-hmm. Again, that's important. Mm-hmm. But I think Max hit a perfect thing for the poor guys that are in this industry struggling, and they don't get on, they don't read his blogs, they don't jump on a professional like this. They're going to get caught blindsided and not be prepared. That's the sad part of it.
I mean, big time. Congrats to you guys, and for always doing this. It's such a great forum, and Chris's page is such a great page. But it is amazing how many people, don't follow this, or maybe follow something that's probably not as beneficial. I appreciate when people read my blog and stay intense with or in touch with things like Glass Magazine and those outlets. But if they're not paying attention, this could hurt them. You guys are ahead of the game, and doing it the right way.
If I don't see your blog on Sunday morning, I get very depressed.
Yeah. Well, there's not one this weekend. It's 4th of July. So take the meds ahead of time.
It'll be okay. 2 weeks.
How we're going to cope.
Okay.
Thank you.
Take a little time off, I guess.
I'll have to watch a couple of Keith's videos.
There you go.
Yeah, right.
That'll lift your spirits.
Nothing better than Keith's video. But Keith, I know this is Shower Door. Keith, why didn't you let them shoot you in front of your bullet resistant glass?
I wanted to. Everyone else said no. I definitely wanted to.
It's the insurance guys, right? The insurance guys are always against that stuff.
I don't know if this group had seen it, but Bill and Keith's company has a bullet resistant product, and Keith is mocking it and behind and shoot me, and I'm like, well, they should have showed it,
Well, I need something like that to get one of these to go viral, so I'm not opposed to anything.
At least paintball. Come on.
Well, just so you know, Keith, if you look up on YouTube, a company did that once with their owner, a ballistic glass.
In the car.
Yeah.
In a car?
No, he's at his shop. It's Ballistic Glass and Armor Solutions. If you look it up on YouTube, he's wearing a cowboy hat, and they shoot him, and his voice is cracking. I mean, I think he was a little bit of a wreck, and he steps through the door that they shot, and he says, I stand behind it. And his voice was cracking hard, like, oh, I can't believe I survived it.
He stood behind his product. I mean, literally.
He sure did. Died of a heart attack a few years later, and then maybe that was the start of it.
I don't. Yeah.
That's because they were going
to get the angle right. You just got to get the angle right.
Absolutely. But congrats on the new products. It's really exciting for you guys. Congrats.
Thank you, Max.
I'm kidding.
Right. Always trying to get something new there.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, hey, we've got Max Pearlstein here. I mean, if anybody has like a question about the glass industry, I mean, if anybody's got the answer, it's Max.
Max, other than the 40% price increase, what is the mood of glass guys? Are they still, I mean, we're still very busy, so it's not like, things are terrible. So as we talk, it's almost like, oh gosh, it's, we're all preparing for it because we've been through the Jimmy Carter years and we've been through the 2008. And so it's like, oh boy, here we go again. So is the mood as far as how busy people are and how everybody's doing? What are you hearing?
A couple of factors. I mean, people are resilient in this industry, but the big factors are things like Glass Build is in October and the floor is almost filled with exhibitors. To me, that's a huge sign of confidence. I mean, that floor is going to be, filled completely with exhibitors. That just shows that there's that hunger there to get in front of people again. So from the supply base, they're feeling pretty good. The people I talk to are busy, are hanging in there. Nobody's, there's been some soft spots. In Texas, they had a few little soft spots that kind of surprised them because usually Texas doesn't have those. But they've bounced back, and the attendance at the different meetings has been fantastic. And again, those are all kind of anecdotal sort of positives. When you see this, when we were in trouble in 2008, our conferences, through the NGA and at that time Ghana, were really lightly attended. We're not seeing that right now. We're still seeing pre-registration be big, that floor be big. So I think there's some really positive signs. Everybody's still hanging in there. It is a little early to tell after this 40, but even like I said, people, a lot of people just kind of buckled down and said, hey, we gotta do this and get it done. And we see a lot of people right now trying, like what Keith and Bill are doing, getting into different products, preparing for, how do we diversify enough to offer more than just one thing or two things, just to prepare against a possible recession.
Max, what does frameless shower doors look like 5-10 years from now? What's up and what is going to be the newest thing that is revolutionary in our industry that you're hearing?
It's funny. I'm not seeing, maybe it's waiting for you guys to figure it out. I'm not, it might be. I mean, I'm not seeing, a lot of the new, Chris has put out some new stuff over the past, and like 310 with their Phantom, put that new out in the past, but I'm not seeing a lot of the new things that I used to. A lot of the focus on the R&D has really been on the exterior with security, like you're seeing with switchable, both the opaque switchable and then the tinted switchable. Photovoltaics are now back in style. The solar panel, glass, basically transparent photovoltaics are back in style. Decorative is still jumping, but not seeing, a lot. I mean, there's some hesitation, I think, with regards to the interior with, with hardware because of trying to keep that in stock sort of thing, and trying to get it. So I'm not seeing a lot of that creativity that we were seeing, in the past, but I'd leave that to you and to people like Chris, who are always kind of innovating. I think the playing field's wide open to kind of, lead everybody in that direction. You guys are the trendsetters. You guys and everybody on this call are the trendsetters.
Well, the deal is you got to listen to the market, right? The market kind of drives it. Just have your ears open and see what they're asking for. Yeah. I had heard, and this goes back 2 years, that frameless shower doors were going to be mandated to be laminated. Just because of the nickel sulfide, the inclusions, potential of spontaneous breakage, or just plain careless usage, that they may go in that direction.
Yeah, and that comes, you can set your watch by it because there's 4 TV sweeps periods a year that local news can sell higher ad rates because more people watch. And you could set your watch that every May, every July, every November, during sweeps, they're going to have the shower door blew up on the local family sort of thing, what can be done sort of thing. And then they try to get the CPSC involved. And we've been seeing this for years. I mean, it took a long time for them to pass the laminated on the handrails. And really the only reason that finally got over the hump was the jobs in Austin, the hotel jobs in Austin that had their railings explode and fall down to the street below. I'd be real surprised if we go that way, laminated. But laminated glass is red hot. I mean, that's why you guys bought an autoclave and people are buying autoclaves left and right. I mean, it is a hot product. I just would be shocked in the shower door space.
Yeah, I'm just curious, Bill, are you able to make a product in your plant that will hold up to shower conditions, without delaminating and all that?
Oh yeah. We just made for Keith's new showroom. We just did a staircase, triple layer 3/8 with inner layer, so it's extremely strong. But yeah, laminated glass. We've been using it for our office partitions because not only is it stronger and safer, but there's a sound barrier. It's not transmitting the audible sound as much, so it's quieter.
Have you made any for shower yet? Because I know some of the inner layers will allow that now.
We haven't yet, Max. Not yet.
Yeah.
I did it in the past, early on, and it started to delaminate and getting little bubbles in there. But that's because they wanted rice paper. It was a Oriental spa, and that was the inner layer.
was an artsy fartsy thing, huh?
Yeah, it really was. But it wasn't a safety issue. I'm just concerned with the number of high rises, hotels, that type of thing, where your clients, lots of times they're coming back from the beach and they're drunk or whatever, and they're just not careful. And it's those type of injuries where they cause it. But, you go into court and how can you say it's the guy's fault, right?
Yeah. No, that is the big fear, is those commercial projects, the heavy shower doors, the way they get banged around, and bad operator usage, and at least Lammy would crack and stay in place. But it's, you definitely have to worry about the failures if you don't use the right interlayer.
Yeah. Oh, there's no doubt. But I still think that at some point it's not going to happen as fast as I thought it was going to happen. But it still may get that way. But that's going to change everything. Your extrusions or your clamps have to be thicker now to handle that. You have to watch when you clamp,
I think laminate glass will make its way into frameless shower doors sooner than we think, but not because of the safety, but because the ability to put technology into it, whether it be like advertised instead of just switchable, it could be advertising. You're at a bar and all the urinals can be paid for now by Budweiser monthly, Bacardi, and I think it'll be for technology purposes.
Hey, Keith, also to touch base on that, getting more into like the technical side, the EVA style machines, looking at that and the solar, think of window replacements with EVA, clear solar. You're absolutely, I think you hit it exactly on the head. Shower doors with TVs in them and everything else.
Yeah, my social media. I mean, who knows?
Huge.
Yep.
What's the hot water bill going to be if you're in there for a half an hour?
Dude, my wife already blows all the hot water by the time I get in it.
I don't know. TikTok for an hour and a half. That would be bad.
Well, yeah,
it doesn't do it now.
And really, in industry, as far as safety goes, usually it's the industry itself that drives safety. You think about like car safety, seat belts, airbags. Those aren't things that were regulated by government initially. Those are things that the industries implemented first, because industry is always trying to figure out how to better serve customers. Really, government doesn't do that. We think, government does this, but government doesn't really do squat. They just come along and profit on everything. It's industries that like make things safer, So I could see if some, fabricator, if like those companies decide, we're going to start doing everything laminated, then it would set, a trend, and then other companies would start to feel like, we've got to do that too, because my shower door is doing that, so I've got to do that too. And then the government will come along and make everybody else do it.
Yeah,
and mess it all up.
Yep, that's right.
And
get some tax money on it. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Bill, right? You're right. It's like when it comes to like lawsuits. I don't know if like lawsuits ever go to court really anymore. If someone comes and complains, say they got hurt, all the insurance companies are just going to settle, right? And then they're going to just raise your rates. So it's not like anybody has to show up to court and prove anything anymore, for the most part. Somebody files a claim, and if the insurance companies don't think that it's a slam dunk, they're just going to settle, and then everybody's going to end up paying.
Yeah, here's the sad part. The practicality of it as the consumer, I can't tell my insurance company what to do. I can't say fight this thing, because they're going to say, well, no, we're going to have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, and if it goes to a jury, we don't know what's going to happen. We're going to cut our losses. But do they cut their losses? No, your mod rate goes up. You're going to pay it over the next 3 years and give it all back to them.
They cut their losses, but you don't cut your losses.
Not at all. You don't have the choice.
Does everybody remember the Martha Stewart patio table exploding?
Yes.
Everybody remembers that. Well, Max just laid out a situation where you got these not as good glass suppliers going to big commercial jobs. So what you talked about, the Texas job, imagine a big high rise with 1,000 heavy glass shower doors from the substandard, and they're all exploding.
Well,
and that'll affect all of us, even though they bought crappy glass. Does that make sense?
So you take it to the next level now, right? This will blow you away. Let's just say you did a big project and something broke, somebody got hurt, and they get into it, and they say, Greg, Clinton Glass installed this. You're responsible. And you're going, no, we only installed what they spec'd. Well, the architect, he's wiping his hands. For some reason, they're untouchables. I've never seen an architect get sued. So it comes to the glass supplier. Oh, well, Clinton Glass made that glass. I said, well, no, we did it by the specifications. Here's the specs. It's tested, third party tested.
We're audited. Yep.
Matter of fact, you should be giving us a check, because if it wasn't tempered, they would have got really hurt. But yes, they got superficial cuts. So now it comes down to, all right, now you got to prove it. Wait a minute. How do we know that maintenance didn't do something to that door, try to adjust it? They had to rent the room. They put somebody in here. And by the way, how do you know that was our glass? How do you know it wasn't broken a year ago and they ordered glass from somebody else? Can you reassemble all that glass and find the bug that was in it? Tell me that was my glass that broke. But the insurance company will not do that. They're just going to look at the claim and say, well, it's going to cost us 200 grand to defend it. Let's just pay 100 grand and be done with it. Oh, and then let's increase their mod rate. They'll pay for it over 3 years. You got no choice in the matter. None, zero. It's sad.
Great points, especially the chain of custody thing. It's impossible for us to be able to prove one way or the other. I mean, it's the chain of custody. That's a great point.
Yeah, there's nothing there. There's nothing.
Yeah. And insurance companies really are the ones running everything. Insurance companies and banks. I mean, whatever they decide, everybody else is kind of just along for the ride.
Tell me every day you're not dodging bullets. You got how many trucks you got out on the road every day? I mean, we had a guy stopped at a stoplight and a lady ran into him. She jumped the curb, knocked over a stop sign, hit the back of the truck. I got one guy that's still out on workers' comp because his neck got jolted. We lost the glass inside the truck. She said to the guys, everybody okay? I got to go to the bathroom. Never to see her again. She never came back.
Wow.
Cops ran the license plate, stolen vehicle. They
my God.
VIN number, and they called the guy that owned it from the VIN number, and he says, I haven't owned that vehicle in 3 years.
Oh my gosh.
Guess what? We have that truck
uninsured.
1,000 miles on it's trashed.
Don't worry, there's a ton of them in stock nearby. Just go to the Ford dealer. They got it.
They're easy to come by.
Yeah, right.
They're double the cost they were 10 years ago. Now that's something that Max may have looked in the 1/4-inch glass was, $1.85 a square foot. But those Ford Transits go up $2,000 a week.
Yeah.
And the lead times go out 2 months every week too, and 2 months further. Yep.
I ordered one in December. I just got a notice I'm getting it in August. So
congratulations.
We ordered 8 in September and I got 6 so far. We did it last September.
I ordered 3. This was back in beginning of June. I'm not supposed to get them till December.
Yeah. And good.
Yeah, if you guys
are they Fords?
No. We're not Ford over here. But
I just saw a new truck out I have never seen before. It looks like kind of look like a Transit or ProMaster, but Amazon's using them for deliveries, and they're an electric vehicle with a
Rivian, I think,
roll-up back door.
Ooh,
yes,
that's interesting.
The full roll-up back door, and it's really interesting. Full grab bars all the way down. I got to look into it. I just ran into it 2 days ago.
I thought one of the guys got the E-Transit. One of the guys in our group got an electric Ford Transit. I haven't heard anything.
I think that was Brandon Nicastro.
I haven't heard how that's working out for him.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Greg,
Curious to hear.
Greg, I'm pretty sure the Rivian.
The Rivian.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Rivian has a variation. They also have an obnoxious 800 horsepower mid-size pickup too. Good friend of mine just picked one. They are insane.
I need that. I can do more sales calls if I had that.
And to be honest, it was a very respectable company. They actually had to hit everyone with a price increase. And I want to say it was the first 500 buyers. They honored the original price, and they ended up having to increase the price by like $15,000. But I mean, my friend purchased it. It was like 75 grand, mild comparison to nowadays, of course. But yeah, Rivian, 800 horsepower. It's insane.
Wow.
Yeah, now trucks cost what houses used to.
Yeah.
Talk about prices going up.
No kidding.
You're old when.
Yeah.
Right.
Thanks.
Is anybody preparing as far as increasing their margins just in that basis alone for repair costs, but also replacement costs? Like for instance, a vehicle, a ProMaster 2016 cost me $35,000. Now that same variant, same exact one is $50,000. So now my cost over a lifespan of 7 to 10 years, if I get it, maybe we'll call it 5 years, has just increased exponentially. Is anybody else adding something to their margins for those purchases?
Not specifically because of that, but overall, I mean, we've increased our labor just to keep people.
Yeah.
So our margins for labor, machinery, obviously glass, our electric bill. Actually, we just went to 2 shifts, so we're running ovens on 2 shifts. Electric bill is up. So we've got to watch all that. So you constantly have to look at your margins. So not specifically just because of gas or trucks, for everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, no doubt. It's another 40% hit, if you will. That we can't necessarily make it obvious to the client. We have to be able to keep it in our margins or whatever else. It's not, hey, Mr. So-and-so, we're getting hit with a glass increase. No, we got to bury that cost somehow. And that I noticed it quite a bit. Unfortunately, I was kind of planning for it. And that's why I'm buying 3 new trucks. But I was just curious to see what anyone else was doing in the truck side of it.
On the good side of that, Matt, though, is when you trade in your old ones, you're going to get a lot more for your trade-ins than you used to.
True.
A lot more.
Yeah, they're in demand.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. Yep.
Let me tell you, if it's running, I would hold on to it for a while instead of trading it.
Yeah, we typically aren't trading. I am selling one, but most of the vehicles that we have, we've been hanging on to and just cycling out old, adding to new. I think I am going to trade my truck out. They're giving me $12,000 over what I paid for it. What was it in 2018? It's a diesel 1-ton Dodge. I'm a fool not to. It's 60,000 miles, an extra $12,000. Go for it. Have it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Tell you a quick story. Remember this. A few years ago, we had to make a delivery to a certain job. We were at a time of the essence, like we had to have the glass there. And now this is in a big truck that's made to haul glass, got the big A-frame on it. We're making a big delivery. Truck breaks down. We're not going to make it there. Call the truck company, and they were going to tow us back and figure out what to do. And I says, no, send the tow truck, pick them up, and go make the delivery. So put the truck on the tow truck and do it. Now it's getting to the point that I can't get glass, the bigger trucks, what they call CDL cheaters. They're like 26,000 pounds. So you don't have to have a CDL driver. And we've had it on order for over a year. I'm thinking of just buying a tow truck. Connect the tow truck and take them around.
I want to see Keith in a video All right, stay with me now. Keith in a video with the tow truck and the glass. Keith, that's all I got. You got to work with that and turn it into something.
That's all he needs.
All right. Well, tune in next week to see that video.
All right.
Thanks for showing up, guys. Good seeing you, Max. Thanks for coming.
Have a safe
Thanks for having me,
Fourth.
guys.
I want everybody
Thanks,
to have
guys.
all 10 fingers next week. All right.
Yeah, right.
Nice up.
So make sure you have all your fingers next week after the 4th.
Absolutely.